Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison.
So this is editing me. I was editing this video and there's something going on with the audio. I'm not sure why. When I filmed it, I did have my microphone in a different spot than I normally do, and I'm not sure if that's why, or if maybe my cat was literally playing with it the whole time I was filming and I just wasn't noticing, but there is something a little wrong with the audio. It's not my normal quality of recording that I have, so I apologize for that. It does fix itself, but not until like the very end, and I just felt like this video was too candid to try to refilm it, so I'm leaving it as is. If it bothers you so much, I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's being like this, and I don't know how to fix it either. So I try to make it as best as I could, and there's just a lot of like humming in the background, and my voice sounds kind of strange, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't know enough about editing to like even try to fix it, because what if I make it really bad? So I'm just gonna leave it as is, and I guess if you wanted to, you could mute it and turn the captions on so you could still watch the video if you really wanted to. But if it doesn't bother you, that's great. If it bothers you, I apologize. I really don't know what happened. But next time I film, I'll go back to having my microphone in the normal spot so that hopefully it sounds, regular when I go to edit. So anyways, I'll let you guys get back into the video.
Today I am doing a top favorite books video. So I have been toying around with the idea of doing one of these videos for a long time because it's kind of scary for me to put together a video like this. Not because I'm worried about people not liking my favorite books, but more because I don't feel like I'm the greatest at talking about books sometimes. So I have been putting it off for a while because I just don't want to get on here and just like start like rambling and like not making any sense. So I have a few books here. I have 9 books in total, but I have 8 top favorites. I couldn't come up with 10. I mean, I could have like stretched a little bit and been like, yeah, I like those books, but they weren't my like absolute favorites. And like by absolute favorite, I mean like it's something that I see merch for and I like immediately want to purchase it. Or like if a new edition comes out, I want to buy the new edition, like that kind of thing. That's what I mean when I say like top favorites. So it's just a story that has imprinted itself on me, and it's one that I think about constantly. I'm always wanting to reread it, even though I don't, because I can't reread all of the books. Then I wouldn't have time to do anything else. So, before I just keep rambling, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to start with book number 8. And actually, if I'm honest, most of these are like series, so it's a top favorite series video, I guess, more than it is a top favorite books, because I couldn't pick. I wouldn't be able to pick just 8 or even 10 if it was like single books. So I have picked 9 top favorites. So I'm going to start with number 8 on the list, and that is the Illuminae Files by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. So this is the trilogy I'm talking about, not just Illuminae. This is a YA science fiction trilogy, and it is a ride. Let me tell you what. I absolutely love this series, this trilogy. It's in a really cool format. If you are into audiobooks, the audiobooks are really, really cool. This trilogy is one of my absolute favorites. I just love it so much. It has a lot of really good messages in it, and I think it's something that's really important for today's youth to read. It's a lot better than a lot of the garbage that I've been having to read lately, so I highly, highly recommend this series. The number 7 book on my list, or the number 7 slot, goes to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So I have a really rough relationship with Leigh Bardugo. It was a very surprising shock to me that I loved Ninth House so much. This is her first adult novel, and it is paranormal, and there is some really gritty stuff in here, but I absolutely love this book. I love the main character. which is rare for me. It takes me a really long time to warm up to female leads for some reason. I'm not sure why. Probably because most of the time I feel like they're just whiny babies and they just need to get over themselves. But I don't know. I really Alex's story in this book was just at times heartbreaking, but also hopeful, and it's a really good. I'm having a hard time. This is why I didn't want to do this video, because now I'm having a hard time talking about this book. So I just want to say that it's worth giving it a shot. It's unlike anything else I've read by her. It is set in, is it Yale? I'm pretty sure it's set in Yale. So, let's see. Yes, Yale. So it's set at Yale, which is, I don't remember what state it's in, but a lot of the locations in this book are based on real life. Apparently, Leigh Bardugo went to Yale, the university, or whatever it's called, when she was in college, so she was drawing on her own experiences from being there, and it has a paranormal aspect to it, and I just really, really liked it. I don't know, I really like this book, and I'm excited for the next one to come out. I think it's supposed to come out this year, I'm not entirely sure, but anyways, this was number 7. Number 6 on my list is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. So this is an incomplete series as of right now. Book 4 in the series just came out, and this has been, I think this was written in 2013, so it's kind of an older series, but it is so good. Again, it has, I would consider this science fiction, as well as Ninth House, that is also science fiction. This is, some people categorize this as YA, but I think that it could also be enjoyed by older readers as well. I would firmly put this in the adult category, not the YA category, just because of, in later books in the series, there's some things that go on that I just feel are not YA appropriate. Maybe like an older level of YA reader, but it actually could be almost considered new adult. So this series is about a girl named Paige, and she is a clairvoyant, so she can commune with the dead, with spirits, and it's set in a dystopian type London, and it's in the future, like 2070 something like that, so it's definitely science fiction, and there's supposed to be 7 books in the series, and I have absolutely loved the first 3. I have not gotten to the fourth book yet, because I am in the middle of rereading the first 3 so that I can get caught up to speed on that one, because it's been a while since I read the 3rd book, probably a couple of years at this point. So I really, really like this series. Again, another series, or another book I was surprised that I liked, because I have a hard time with female lead characters at first. It takes a little bit, something has to happen to them for me to empathize with them, and depending on how they react to it, that really sways whether or not I like the female lead character or not. Usually I fall for the male character, the side character, especially if they're like broody, so that's just me, that's just my preference. But I really, really like this series, and it has some really cool like 1920s gangster vibes, so like everyone dresses like 1920s gangsters, and it's just really fun. It's a really, really unique story, and I really, really like it. Samantha Shannon's writing is top notch. It's the best. That was what was that one? Number 6? Yes, number 6. Okay. Number 5 is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and this is for the series as a whole. This is not my favorite book in the series. My favorite book in the series is either Heir of Fire or Queen of Shadows, and as a whole, the series is really good. I really like it. It's been a while since I read it, and I just reread Throne of Glass last month, so, and I enjoyed it more the second time around, which was good. I really like it when I reread a book and enjoy it more than I did the first time. It's always a bummer when you reread a book and you're like, I don't remember this being, I remember this being better than what it is, but it's just a circumstantial thing. But this is the first book in a technically an 8-book series, but if you don't read the novella, then it's a 7-book series. And it's an epic fantasy series. I know the older books in the series, like probably this one through some parts of Heir of Fire would be considered like the younger YA, but after that it kind of just progresses right up into new adult by the time you get to the last book in the series. So this series is really good. There's magic, there's major evil that has to be overcome, the plot is so complex. There is a romance. Well, there's more than one actually. There's quite a few because there's a lot of characters in this world, and they all get to have a little bit of the limelight. So this is another really good series that I like, and I just really like it. I'm excited to continue my reread. Maybe if I ever have time, I'll get through it. And number 4 is Harry Potter. So again, this is a representation of the whole series. I just have always, okay, I can't say always, I have loved Harry Potter since I was in high school. As a child, I was not allowed to read Harry Potter because my parents thought that it was bad for some reason. I don't think they ever took the time to read it for themselves to actually see what it was about. But anyways, I didn't get introduced to Harry Potter until I was 17 or 18. And I devoured the books. I think I was actually 17 because I remember when the 7th book came out, and I think that was in 2007, maybe? I don't remember. But I do remember when the last book came out, and I was like freaking out because I had to find out what had happened. So I know like everybody's read these, but these have a very special place in my heart because like reading them as an older young adult, as a 17-year-old, it just made me realize that there is good even if it seems like the world has just gone crazy, and you should always fight for what is right, even if it's hard. So there's just a lot of really great, there's also like not so great things in these, but there's just the good outshines the bad every single time in these books, and I just really can't wait for my kids to get bigger so that they can really enjoy these too. I have tried reading these out loud to them, and they just can't handle it. So I have tried doing the audiobooks with them, and it doesn't hold their attention, and I'm not really sure why, but maybe it's just because they're too young yet. So I will try not to force it on them because I want them to like it. I don't want them to just be like, oh, Mom's talking about Harry Potter again. And I'll be like, that's because it's awesome and you should read it. But anyways, so this is number 4 on my top favorites list. Number 3 is The Lord of the Rings. So where do I start with this story? I was introduced to The Lord of the Rings through the movies. I had no idea that it was even a thing. I had randomly rented the two, either the Fellowship of the Ring or the Two Towers. I had rented it because I was like, I saw the cover and I was like, this looks like a fantasy movie. I want to watch this. And I was like super young, like 12, I think. And, I had no idea what it was, and I watched it, and I was like, this is freaking amazing. Also, probably because I had a huge crush on Orlando Bloom, and he's really hot as Legolas. So, anyways, don't tell my husband. It's okay, he already knows. So, I loved the movies, absolutely loved them. I watched all of the movies before I read the book, and then at the ripe old age of 13, I grabbed myself a huge copy of The Lord of the Rings. It was one that had them all in one, and I read the whole thing at the age of 13, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I was such a nerd about it. I would take notes while I was reading. That's how much of a nerd I was being about it. It was insane. It was completely ridiculous. And then I got into high school and just didn't have time to really focus on it too much. But this story and the movies are a very integral part of my childhood, and I absolutely love them. I'm actually rereading the Fellowship of the Ring right now, and every time I read them, I just get all the feels, and I absolutely love J.R.R. Tolkien's writing. I know it can be a bit much at times, but it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. So this is number 3 on my top favorites list. And then number 2 is none other than, you're going to notice that a lot of these are like childhood favorites. But number 2 is none other than Aragon. You guys can't tell, this is a special dust jacket. But this is Aragon by Christopher Paolini, and again, this stands for the entire Inheritance Cycle series. And I met Aragon when I was probably about the same time No, it was before Lord of the Rings. I read this before I had seen or read Lord of the Rings. So this was kind of like my intro to fantasy, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I wanted a freaking pet dragon, because why not? Why would I have to walk anywhere if I could just get on my dragon and fly? Like, the magic in this book is insane. I know a lot of people say that these books are like info dumpy and they're long and they're boring, and I really don't care what you think because they're really, really good. Did you know that Christopher Paolini wrote this when he was 15 years old? Granted, this finished copy is not what he wrote, like it's not the exact same, but he wrote an epic fantasy at 15 years old. Like, who does that? That's crazy. It's just ridiculous. So I have all of the feels and all of the emotions for this book, and in the series. Just, there's so many amazing things that happen in it. I absolutely love it, and this is just talking about it is making me want to reread it again for, like, I don't even know how many times. I've read Aragon a lot. The other books I've only read probably a couple of times, but I have read Aragon probably 5 or 6 times. And it's just amazing. I love it every single time. It's so, so good. Okay, and then this is the fun part, because we're at the number 1 slot, but I have 2 things for the number 1 slot. I have 2 series that are my absolute top favorites. Nothing can top them. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. They are just, I think about them constantly. They're always on my mind. I love the characters. I'm so invested in these stories. There's not an Allison without these 2 series. So I'm going to talk about them individually, but they are both holding the number 1 spot in my life for the foreseeable future. I don't see this changing at all whatsoever. Like, you'd have to write a freaking amazing story for me to not love these books as much as I love them right now. So we're going to go ahead with this one. So one of the top number 1 book series is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So this is an adult science fiction. It is not YA. I don't know why people think it is YA, but it is not. This is not a YA series. This is an adult science fiction series. And right now there are 5 books out, with the 6th one, hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully coming out this year. And this is this is like an epic science fiction saga. Like, the writing is so complex. The writing is beautiful. I love Pierce Brown's writing. His writing is just amazing. I love it so much. And the characters are awesome. They're quirky. They're real. They're human. They do things that irritate you, and then they do things that make you laugh, and then they do things that make you cry. And there's just so much that I love about this series. I don't even have any words to explain how much I like this series. Like, I don't even, they're so good. So if you ever want to dive into adult science fiction, I recommend Red Rising. Just 100%. This one is the best. And before I get I'm going to get more gushy, because if you guys have been following my channel at all, even like a tiny bit, or my Instagram, then you know that this is not going to be a surprise. This is probably my top favorite. like Red Rising and this series were just so close to each other. I had to put them together because I would feel bad if I put one or the other in the number 2 spot. So that's where we're at. So my top favorite fantasy series is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And before you get all judgy, I just don't care because this is my reading life, not yours. Go be judgy about your own reading life. So this is my top favorite fantasy series. Okay, let me rephrase. My top favorite fantasy trilogy. I just read the newest book in this series and it was trash. I did not like it at all whatsoever. But the first 4, I guess if you want to count the novella, so A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and A Court of Frost and Starlight, are my favorite books. I love them. I have given every single one of them 5 stars. There is nothing on this planet right now that could remove them from this spot. They have my heart forever and ever and ever. Every time I read them, I love them even more. They're just so good. And if you haven't read them and you want to give them a try, go ahead. If you have read them and you didn't like them, I'm so sorry. You and I are just not going to relate because I just have so many deep feelings about this book. It's not even funny, this series. So I think that's all I have to say about it. If you want to give these a try, do it. Just do it. And if you end up not liking it, I will not hate you for it because nothing can eclipse the love I have for this. So that is it for my top favorite books/series. I think there was really only one book on here, one single book, and that's just because it's an incomplete trilogy right now. There's supposed to be 2 more books in that trilogy, and that's Ninth House. So basically, this is my top favorite series video. If you have read and loved any of these books, I would love to know. If you haven't and you think any of them are interesting, you should also let me know which ones you would like to read and when you do, because I want to know your thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another one. Bye!